All right, Alexander, let's do a quick update on what's going on in Turkey and the lira. And we did a video on this, a more in-depth video on what's going on with Erdogan's unorthodox economic policies and his economic decisions. But it looks like the lira has just strengthened off of another strange move that Erdogan has made. What did Erdogan do?
Indeed. I mean, it surged yesterday from 18 to the dollar to 14 to the dollar just within a few hours. And this followed an announcement which Erdogan made yesterday, in which he said that from now on, as the lira weakens, if the lira weakens, people, depositors who hold their monies in lira will be compensated by, I'm not quite clear how, but they will be provided with more lira to make up the difference as the lira falls against the dollar. The idea is to stop people converting as quickly as they can their lira into dollars, and also to stop them hoarding dollars. The last is a real serious problem because Turkey basically buys everything. All its imports are paid for in dollars. So if people start hoarding their dollars, if they put them under their mattresses or in their wherever they can, and the big financial institutions in Turkey, the banks and all the rest, start to run out of dollars, then they're not going to have hard currency to pay their debts, and we could be looking at a default. And I know that there are people in the financial community who are becoming increasingly concerned about that. So this is his cunning plan. His cunning plan is not to raise interest rates. He's ruled that out. He said interest rate increases are out of the question. So what he's going to do instead, in order to persuade people to hold on to their lira and not to convert them into dollars, he's going to give them more lira. And he can only do that by printing more lira. Now, in the short term, this temporary fix will, it's produced the result it has. Over the days, weeks, months, it's going to cause the lira to depreciate even more as inflation in Turkey increases even further. Because, of course, if you are going to start printing lira, because that's what he's going to be doing, in order to give lira directly to people, which is the only way, this can work, that increases the money supply at staggering levels. And, of course, at that point, inflation is going to take off even more. The only way this scheme could succeed would be on a very temporary basis if Erdogan was able to do one of two things: either raise interest rates, which of course he's categorically ruled out, or alternatively, and raise interest rates a lot, by the way. We'd be looking at, 25%, something like that, 25% interest rates. So a big surge in interest rates. Either he could do that, or alternatively, and it's known that he's now desperately going around the world cap in hand, trying to do this, find money from somewhere, from one of the Gulf states, from China, from Russia, whoever, to bail him out so that he can actually fund this scheme that he has with hard currency. But at the moment, it doesn't look as if anybody's interested in lending him any money. So it's a short-term fix. It will make things worse.
Are you saying he's looking for funds from other countries to give him money so that he can take that money and give it to just like a universal basic income to the Turkish citizens?
Essentially
what he's looking to do? He's not looking to invest the money into
no. What he wants to do,
the infrastructure, businesses, whatever. He's looking. Give me money. Give me money so I can fulfill this scheme.
Indeed, so that essentially the central bank can support the lira by foreign currency interventions in the financial markets, so that the lira would strengthen, hopefully, against the internet, and at the same time, simultaneously, this scheme would persuade Turkish depositors to keep their monies in lira. So you could see how it would work. Sort of $50 billion on intervention, $100 billion intervention in the financial markets to hold the lira steady, with people bundling back into the lira because they've been given this assurance that if the lira were to fall, then they would be compensated. They would get more lira. Now, the point is, of course, even if that were to happen, even if somebody were foolish enough to give Erdogan $100 billion to do something like that, it's debatable how long this thing could work. Anyway, I mean, you'd probably be looking at an intervention that might succeed over a few weeks, but given the gravity, I'm talking about, the direction, given gravitational pull of the lira downward in the absence of interest rate rises, it's difficult to see how that would work on anything more than a temporary basis. But the fact is, many people, Qatar, the UAE, the Chinese, lots of people have given Erdogan money in the past, have loaned Turkey money. The central bank has debts to international players, these countries of around, the conservative figure is $50 billion already. Why would people want to do that? I mean, they would look at the situation. They would look at these incredibly unorthodox economic policies that Erdogan is pursuing, and they'd say to themselves, well, what's the point? I mean, all he's going to do is he's going to blow our money away, just as he did last time. So there is no logic, commercial logic, to anybody doing that. There's increasingly little geopolitical logic either, given that, as I said, Erdogan's policies have annoyed everybody. So I just can't really see how he's going to pull it off this time. As I said, it's a short-term fix that makes things in the long term worse, because he's not prepared to increase interest rates by the amount that would be needed to really stabilize the situation. And I can't really imagine anybody lending him money. So it's just going to make things worse.
Someone might lend him money. I mean, who knows?
Well,
they'll lend him money and they'll ask for something in return.
Well, indeed,
what that
exactly.
something is going to be.
Well, indeed. My own personal view, and I'm going to say this straightforward: anybody who lends Erdogan money is a fool. I mean, even if the Chinese or the Russians lent him money in return for concessions, say on the Caucasian situation or on Libya or something, or Syria or something like that, well, it would have to be really big concessions to make it worthwhile. I mean, that's all I can say. I mean, and given how Erdogan, never fulfills his end of any bargain, at least any bargain of that nature, I just think that it's unlikely it's going to happen this time. But, we'll see.
Yeah, and it would mean more debt. It looks like the walls are closing in.
It looks as if they are, yeah. Yeah, I agree, actually. I mean, I think even he's beginning to understand that this great plan that we talked about, in our previous video, is leading directly to disaster. But he doesn't seem to have a clear way out. And instead of which, he's coming up with these temporary fixes, which can only make the situation worse.
Raise interest rates and step down. I mean,
absolutely, that's the obvious
option.
Well, of course it is. It's the right option. It's the obvious option. I mean, he's not going to step down. That's not something Erdogan does. Raise interest rates. I mean, it would be the right thing to do. It would lead to a severe recession. It would lead to a loss of support in Turkey. I mean, people would say to themselves, why did we ever get into this situation? But it would at least buy him space and time. And who knows, in 2 years' time, a year's time, things might turn. But he's ruled that option out. We'll see whether he's able to reverse course.
All right. Okay. Walls are closing in. He's failing.
Yeah.
He's failing in a big, big way.
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. I'm waiting for something to happen.
I agree. Yeah, everybody is. Everybody is. Absolutely. Everybody is. And by the way, I mean, I've heard that, again, I mean, he's claiming that unemployment is falling in Turkey. And of course, the official figures say that. But I'm reading increasing numbers of people who are saying that in reality it's growing. And in a hyperinflation crisis, the reality is that everything stops because people are not being paid Factories are not being paid. Businesses are not being paid in money that has any value anymore. So why should they keep operating? That's the reality of a hyperinflation crisis. Very different from what some economists imagine and what perhaps Erdogan himself thinks. I'm not saying Turkey's yet in hyperinflation, but he's headed that way. And the decision he's just made is going to hasten that day.
What a bizarre decision. All right, we'll leave it there, everybody. TheDuran.looks.com. Take care.
And our magic mugs, our shop, and all the rest.
Our magic box. Yes. Good day. Good day. 10% off. Use the code. All right. Take care.